all of you. There you go. Hit continue, and that's your recognition that you know we're recording you. Maloney, I will turn it over to you to introduce yourself and start your session.
Cool. So my name is Miloni, and I think everyone except maybe Chan Kim-san, I don't know already. So I live in the Bay Area, and I do a lot of different things, one of which is eating food. So I'm going to have you guys go on a little journey exploring some of the topics that maybe you don't always think about when you eat food, but we're going to be doing it implicitly, not explicitly. So you might be looking at some of the topics and wondering how we're going to get to the things that are listed in the description. But as you go through it, I think some of the themes will come out on their own, and we'll always share about it at a break. And the best thing to do for these reflective writing sessions is to keep writing, even if you don't feel like it. It's better to write manually with a pen or pencil on paper. And if you're on a computer, that's fine too. But I think there's a lot of, there's something to be said about the connection between your mind and your hand writing the words, kind of similar to what we did in the workshop that Raymond had when we were doing contour drawing as well. So we have a lot of interesting topics I'm excited to have you guys write about. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. And if anyone has any questions, you're welcome to drop them in the chat, but I would just ask one of the mods to kind of alert me if there are any. Other than that, first thing that we're going to write about is coming up. And we are going to spend 3 minutes making a list of your favorite foods. And I'll keep track of time, so you don't have to worry about that, and you'll get a little 10-second warning from me, and then I'll move us to the next prompt. So with that, go ahead and start writing. And so bring your eyes back up to the slides, because we're moving on to the next set of prompts. So there you have it. The next one, you're going to spend a little bit longer thinking about. When you take a trip to the supermarket, what will you buy? You can also consider things like where did you go and what did you buy? And just remember to try to write for the full 6 minutes. And of course, I'll mind the time, so you guys can go ahead and start now. So you have about 30 seconds left to gather your thoughts. What kind of rice you prefer to eat and why? What does it look like? How does it taste? Where did it come from? We have another 6 minutes with this prompt, and I will do the same in terms of warning you at 30 seconds and again at the end. So you may begin. So for the next 15 minutes, what we're going to do is read over what you wrote, and in your small groups, share exactly what you wrote. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to make any additions. You just literally are going to read what you wrote and share with your small group. And make sure you assign a facilitator to kind of note down some important things that you want to share back with the main group, because when we come back together, we'll all kind of discuss some of the first impressions you had from your writing of each other. So with that, the mods can go ahead and split folks into rooms. So welcome back, everyone. I hope your hand had some time to stretch a bit and your discussions were fruitful. Would anyone like to share back anything from their breakouts? And remember to unmute yourself. You're welcome to unmute yourself and just speak. You don't have to type it out or anything.
Aloha, Melanie.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Oh yeah, it was a good discussion. Food is always a good discussion for everyone, especially in East Center. So yeah, it was a nice talk because finally we're talking about different kinds of food and different kinds of menu that we like, the dishes that we like, and we had a common food. Of course, that's rice, and but of course we have different kinds of rice that we are fond of. It was a good discussion, just like the one we had in APLP session in East West Center, where we met and we became close to our colleagues because of food. So yeah, that's it for the morning. I am so happy because finally I had to talk about food with some people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you can share your thoughts, or also you're welcome to read out exactly anything that someone had shared in your group that you'd like to share back to that you thought was really moving or just struck a note with you. So,
So Miloni,
go ahead, Sarah.
Is it okay? Yeah. So one of the themes so there were a couple of themes, but theme that emerged that was interesting was that we talked a little bit about, sometimes certain rices from certain geographies have reputations for being the best rice. And specifically, we were talking about basmati rice from India and Pakistan. But does the rice know that there's a border and that it's better in one place than the other? And then that reminded me also a lot of Japan, where prefectures argue that they have the best rice. So that was a really interesting connection around, or theme around, rice and geography. And then we also learned that in Peru, where there are a lot of Japanese people, that there is Peruvian rice that has salt and spices and flavor. But a lot of people eat Japanese rice, which is just the plain white rice, short grain rice, and sometimes both at the same time. So we thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually going to, at the end, drop a resource into Discord about rice and rice's movement around the world from the context of geography. So that's super fascinating that it came up in your discussion. So look out for that afterwards. Does anyone else want to reflect verbally with the larger group on anything? Please unmute yourself if you do and just share.
Hi, Miloni. Harshini here. Sorry. Someone else wants to go ahead?
No, Harshini, you represent our people.
Oh, no. Go ahead, MCK.
You can also both share. It's fine. We have time for that if you'd like.
Okay, no, I just wanted to say that I was fascinated that MCK said that he buys salmon skin, and that's something that I love and hardly get here in Sri Lanka. Even if we do get it here, it's really expensive. But it's awesome that someone else likes the skin of fish, which is not usually liked over here.
Cool.
Well, so throwing back to Harshini, what I thought was really interesting is that she was mentioning how a lot of the stuff on her list was childhood related stuff. And then the other things that she chose to pick up were the things that came from her travels. I think also Kim San in our group was really into like the sour fruits. So like papaya, and I learned about a new one I hadn't heard before called tamori. And then Christina, hands down, I think gets the award for the coolest dishes from all of these different sections of the world because she basically like took us around a map of all her favorite foods, so we could check out all these different places. So that was pretty fun from our discussion.
Nice. Is there anyone else? Safira, you want to go ahead?
I just want to raise a little bit about the black rice because I'm now in Australia, so I found that black rice in here and in my country Timor-Leste is really huge difference because what I observe here, the black rice in Timor is pretty expensive, but the taste is only perfect once you cook in a boiled water and using the wooden fire. If not, the taste like tasteless. But once in here, it's even worse because I only use rice cooker. So I think like it's really different. That's what I only want to say.
Cool. So I think that's going to be, unless someone has, I'm going to move us unless there's any last burning share outs. Okay. So it's funny actually that you specifically mentioned the black rice too, Safira, because the resource that I'm sharing, the title is Black Rice. So you'll see that afterwards on Discord. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into something called loop writing, and we're going to write for 3-minute intervals with like, I believe it's 5 different prompts, and we're just going to move straight through all of them. And again, what you want to do is you want to try to consistently just keep writing and stay connected with your writing utensil and the paper or the computer if you're on one. I will mind the time for you and remind you to look back up at the slides when it's time to catch the next prompt. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move us forward. So the first prompt is, what is the most recent meal you ate? How did it make you feel and why? And you may begin. Here you go. So our next prompt is, what is your first or strongest memory of food? Why do you remember that? What does it trigger? So just concentrate on that. What is your first or strongest memory of food? And you may begin. So the next prompt is, if you had to pick a food to describe yourself at this moment, what would you pick and why? And you're gonna have 3 minutes again, and you may begin. So the next prompt is gonna be, describe a food or recipe that you want to remember to the best of your abilities, and why is this recipe important to you? And you have 3 minutes. Home, what would you serve and why? And you have 3 minutes. And I think Keely will push you into new groups. And so when that happens, go ahead and discuss with your groups. Again, try to read and share directly what you wrote for the first go ahead, and then see where that discussion takes you. And we will warn you when it is time to come back. And we'll do a quick large group share out again before we close for the day. So you could actually like find
Yeah.
I gotta go sleep after this. No more food in my day.
I've been reminded of some awesome stuff which I need to actually make today.
Share your recipes with us, Harshini. Also, I'm really excited about the cooking show you're going to launch.
Yes, we all are excited for that.
I am.
We decided, we've nominated you to launch this.
Yay!
Yeah, Harshini, you were the star of our breakout group as well. We were talking about you in your cooking show.
Oh, who is this? Sorry, I'm on my phone and I can't see everyone on.
Oh, it's Sorrel, but you were the star of our breakout session, your cooking demo last night, and when you're gonna launch your show.
Well, I think you guys are all back now, and I would like you guys, if you feel comfortable, to share some of the things from your last breakout group. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so you don't have to see my pun anymore, but thank you for participating in this, and stay excellent. And now I'm gonna just be able to see, hopefully, the chat as well. So would anyone like to start us off on anything that they thought was interesting from their discussion or their own personal writings that surprised them as they went through the loops? Just please unmute yourself and speak. We're a small group. Raymond says it's funny that COVID food life was so present And for everyone, definitely, like that was one of the things I was hoping your subconscious would pull out as we went through these, to really see like how your relationship with food changed because of this global scenario that we're all in together, and how each of us is relating to that in different ways, and what it's triggering in our memory and our wishes and desires, on what we have access to and what we don't. So now that I can see the chat box, you can totally drop things in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and just share out. And you're also welcome to read directly from your writing if you'd want to share that with the group.
Can I share mine?
Yeah, go for it, Safira.
Okay. So I'm gonna. Do I need to share all the things that I've?
Just anything that you want to share.
Okay. I'm gonna just share one. Maybe that's second question. The strongest food memories. I wrote here cassava and sweet potato baked, which bake in animal's dry poo. It's a little bit funny, but that's the reality. That was in 12 years back when I was with my mom to look after the cows and buffaloes in rural areas. So it's like takeaway food that usually many people do in Timor. So that's one of my strongest food memories because it reflects so much on my mom and my childhood memories. That's all.
Thank you so much. There's a note in the chat box for MCK to tell us what you would host with us. I don't know if that's an inside group joke or if that is something that you want to actually address to the larger audience.
I can take on the challenge. I didn't share that part, so maybe Harshini wants to pull it out of me. So I would share this Cuban black bean recipe that I started making last year that I think is really fun. I'm totally feeling Safira on the sweet potatoes, so I would definitely do something like baked sweet potatoes. Steamed broccoli, just to have like a little something basic in there. I think making meat and fruit together is really fun. And there's some interesting and like pretty cool combinations that you can make with like pork and peaches or other kinds of things. So I might do something like that. And then last year, I also started experimenting with this thing that I call a gourmet, which is just trying to be ironic because if you just put spinach and carrots together, it's actually super delicious and really, really easily done. And people look at it and they're like, that looks terrible and it's going to taste terrible. And then they usually last for seconds. So that's probably what I would make.
Nice.
Well, I think that's pretty cool because MCK just mentioned like the combination between fruits and the meat. I have tried once because I used to cook the roast apple fruit with the beef. It's like put on top. I made it like a little bit like jam, but it's fresh jam that I made and just put on top of the beef.
Nice. Thanks. So I am putting a few interesting ideas that I was toying with. If it copies over, let's see. And so like, I don't know if anyone had any of these discussions come up through their subconscious writing adventure, but you know, this COVID era food relationship just kind of highlights things that other people in other places, I'm talking from a very US perspective, from where I'm sitting, like it was the first time we had to queue up to go to a grocery store, not because there actually was a shortage, but because it was perceived to be a shortage. And in a lot of other places, like people have to queue up often to go into stores and things like that. And I just thought it was interesting, like when I was going through and trying to develop this, what stuck out in my mind, nutrition versus enjoyment during the COVID era is like completely out the window. Now I want to eat tasty things, not just nutritious things. Like I don't know. Everyone has a different take on it, but yes, totally. Christina, I was going to also ask that everyone shares the recipe on Discord so we can all continue to learn from each other and eat the foods that build our community. I find these reflexive writing journeys to be incredibly powerful because all of us are all over the world, but yet here we are together in the same time, in the same place, reflecting on a topic that most of us can identify with in some way, shape, or form. And yet all of our reflections are so unique to our physical location. And I think there are very few groups of people who are doing similar things at this moment. And I was especially taken by that through the entire reflective writing journey that Gretchen originally started and Hira also led. And we had several other great hosts along the way. So that is something that I really enjoyed and hope that you also enjoyed. And if you are ever interested in continuing the discussion, there's Discord, please use it. And in the future, I know that we're always looking for folks to possibly be involved in this reflective writing experiment. So please do let us know if you would like to host a reflective writing session on any particular topic. Is there anything else anyone wanted to say before we close for today?
I just have a question for Gretchen. Gretchen, is Discord going to be discontinued after the conference, or is it like forever?
Oh, those are two big extremes, Harshini, but it will still be available post-conference. And I mean, at this point, it'll be available as long as people are using it. So absolutely.
Okay, great. And thanks a lot, Melanie. The session was great. Brought back a lot of memories.
Well, thank you guys for coming. So you are
Everyone.
yeah.
I just wanted to say one quick thing that I know just in this group here that not only if we cook together would we have delicious food, but I know that everyone that's part of our program would be fascinating and entertaining dinner company. So hopefully we'll all get to see each other in the future wherever we are. And if you're in New York, please come to have dinner with me.
Awesome.
And maybe an idea would be to have host a dinner party, a potluck, a virtual potluck next time we meet.
Oh, that would be super
I
fun.
would love that. That would be fun.
Well, we can certainly, we can organize, well, you can organize it, but we can also organize it through Discord if this group is interested.
Yeah.
And you know, they just announced the East West Center's 60th anniversary virtual conference next summer. So perhaps that's an interesting session proposal to submit virtual potlucks.
Let's write it up, Melanie.
Awesome.
Gretchen and Melanie, just wanted to ask because I'm not part of the EWC because I just got an invitation from one of my friends, so I'm not really part of that. So is that possible? Or still ongoing with the Discord, like once the sessions?
You're on Discord, Safira. So I would say just keep getting on Discord, and you'll see things come up there. So definitely.
Sure,
and you can ask us too if you ever have any questions about what's happening in the community. You can ask us. Sound good?
Sure.
You can always connect with us on other platforms as well if you're worried that the Discord might end.
Yeah, but I'll try to apply for the next time if the COVID is over soon, then I'm gonna apply for that as well.
Awesome. And Safira, we have a lot of really amazing alumni from Timor-Leste. So there's a great community there. They've been both participants and collaborators in running programs. So there's really amazing people. Maybe you know some of them.
Yeah, I know them a lot because like I always go with them. We running some programs together, so that's why they invited me to access to this program.
Awesome.
But because I'm now based in Australia, I'm still studying doing my bachelor. So
great. Well, we also have great people in Australia, both from Australia and from other places that are living there. So really good community. We've been happy to have you and all the rest of you join us. And Melanie, I want to give you again another heartfelt thanks for creating this space. You and I have been talking about it a lot. And, it's clear that you love food and that you think about it a lot. And you think about the connection food has to people and community and identity and justice. And so it was just really great to see that happen in this space. And everyone, thanks for joining. We'll have more sessions, writing sessions like this in the future, so keep your eyes open for those. And as Maloney said, if you are interested in running one, we can work with you on that. So this is super great. Maloney, again, thank you. Everyone, thank you. I want to remind you that we do take feedback on the sessions, and we have posted in the chat just a few posts up from Lori, a link that you can give some feedback that's helpful both to Maloney and especially to us as we think about how to continue to offer cool stuff for you in this space and how to do that together. So everyone, thanks. We will see you tomorrow. We have 2 more days of this summit of Gen Squared. So we look forward to seeing the rest of you in the next couple days. Thank you. Have a good evening. Be well and be safe. And yeah, put your recipes in Discord and maybe put the pictures of what you're going to eat right now. Because if you're like me, you're very hungry.
Yes, food pictures on our channel. That'd be amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. Maloney, awesome.
Cool
Shout out.
beans.